Hi there, as a Kindle YouTuber, I've come across quite a few Kindles now, and every time I get one, I have to change a bunch of settings to make sure it works the way I like it. And there are 5 settings in particular that I cannot stand that I have to change immediately after buying my Kindle. Let me jump into those right now. Now, this first setting is very important in today's world. It's all about privacy. By default, your Kindle is actually tracking your data and sending it over to Amazon to use for marketing purposes or advertisements, things like that. I personally prefer to turn that off completely. The way you do that is going into the settings, all settings, device options, and then buried at the bottom under advanced options, there's a privacy button, and open that up and disable that option. I think this is the first thing everyone should do when buying a Kindle. It's not gonna stop you from getting ads in the first place, but it'll at least stop tracking your data and sending your personal information over to Amazon. Now, this next setting is also very important to me. I believe that reading is a mindful activity. I don't want to be cluttered with advertisements everywhere. I don't want to see book recommendations. I just want to see the books that I bought that I want to read. I don't need someone telling me which books I should be reading. That's why the first thing I usually do when getting a Kindle is turning off the home screen view. By default, on your home screen, you see ads and recommendations for different books all over the place. It's very cluttered, but you can actually turn this off. The way you do this is going into your settings once again, and then going back to device options. Under the advanced options section, under home screen and library over here, you can just turn off the home screen view, and that will turn off all those recommendations. It's such a night and day difference having that clean home screen with only the books that you own. It makes such a nice difference. Now, this next setting is actually really new to the whole Kindle ecosystem. I've had this setting on my Kobo for a long time now, but for Kindle, it literally just came out in the past few weeks. It basically allows you to use the book that you're currently reading, the book cover, as your screensaver. It makes using your Kindle feel much more like a book. The way you get to this is going to your settings, all settings, device options, and then you'll see the thing right at the top for display cover. If you aren't seeing this, go to the advanced options and make sure the update your Kindle section is completely grayed out. That means your Kindle is up to date. If it's not, make sure you completely update it first, and then you'll see the option there. I am not sure if this setting is gonna be there on devices that have advertisements on the screensaver, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But if you do see the option there, I recommend turning it on. It just makes your device feel much more homey and much more like an actual book. This next setting actually really isn't a setting, but it's more of a feature that I recommend that you do on your home screen. Once you have that home screen view turned off, you'll only see the books that you own on your home screen. The problem is you're going to see books that you've already read or books that you haven't downloaded yet, things like that. The first thing I do is change it from all to only downloaded books. I don't want to see the books that I read a long time ago that I don't have on my device anymore. I only want to see the books that I'm actually downloading to the device on the device. Secondly, I add a filter. The filter that I like to keep it on is showing the unread books only. This will actually filter out all the books I've already read on my Kindle, so they aren't taking up space on my home screen. I can always get them back by turning the filter off, but by default, I only want to see the books that I'm currently reading. I like to read several books at the same time, usually upwards of 5 books at a time. It's just something I like to do, hopping between different books, whatever I'm in the mood for. And having this setting the way it is right now really helps me stay focused on only the books I'm currently reading. Otherwise, I'll be starting new books all the time. Now, this last setting is something I recently turned on, but it's been there from the very beginning. It's called Goodreads. When I first got my Kindle, I set up a Goodreads account and I hated it. I hated the website. It was so annoying to use. It felt like using something from the 90s. It was the worst experience ever. I deleted my account. But more recently, I tried it again. I made my account. I logged into my Kindle with it, and it's made such a difference. The reason why I recommend it so much is because it lets you track your books in a way you normally can't do on the Kindle without Goodreads. Basically, the way it works is you have 3 different shelves. You have your currently reading shelf, the books you've already read shelf, and the books that you want to read shelf. I love adding books to my want to read shelf that I get recommendations for on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever I might be looking. Whenever I find a new recommendation, I add it to this shelf for want to read. It's actually saved me a lot of money. Otherwise, I tend to buy books that I never end up reading for months at a time. So having this feature really allows me to have one central central location to track all my books. And now I can't live without Goodreads. Because it's built into the Kindle, whenever I finish reading a book, it tells me, hey, do you want to move this book to your already finished shelf? And then it automatically moves the book over and gives me the option to provide a rating for it. And then the rating shows up on my profile. You can add friends. It's like a social media website. You can see what they're reading, what their rating books are. It's all really, really fun to use. I strongly recommend it. It does take some getting used to. There is some time investment needed to get started, adding in all the books you've already read, things like that. But once you're on the platform, it does make a big difference. I have a whole video talking about that. Link for that down below. Now, those are the 5 settings that I personally changed on the Kindle. If there's something that you do that I missed, please leave a comment down below. I'm always looking for new tips and tricks. Speaking of tips and tricks, I have a whole video talking about 15 hidden features on the Kindle. Link for that on the screen right now. If you enjoyed this video, you'll definitely enjoy that video. Check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.